Okay, Sonny, you have a legal note.
I do have a legal note. Thank you, Whoopi. Matt Gaetz has long denied all allegations, calling the claims, quote, invented, and saying in a statement to ABC News that this false smear following a 3-year criminal investigation should be viewed with great skepticism. That DOJ investigation was closed with no charges being...
The fiery co-host of The View, Sunny Hostin, who is known for her frank opinions on justice and morality, is in the hot seat as her husband, Dr. Manny, is facing shocking accusations in a $450 million RICO lawsuit for allegedly taking part in one of New York's closets. Let's examine the specifics of this dispute and the obvious double standards at work. This scandal has caused many people to doubt Sunny's reliability. It involves the biggest insurance fraud schemes, including kickbacks and unneeded procedures.
Her husband accused of committing federal insurance fraud in a lawsuit, okay? Now, let's read this. Rob, is this a video?
Well, I have this. I'll show you this. About
Let me just read this and I'll come to you. So, Dr. Emmanuel Manny Hostin, an orthopedic surgeon and husband of The View co-host, Sunny Hostin, is accused in December lawsuit fraudulently billing insurance. By the way, this is a Daily Caller story I'm reading. The lawsuit alleges Hostin knowingly provided fraudulent medical and other healthcare services in exchange for kickbacks and or compensation, and names him among nearly 200 defendants in one of New York's largest RICO cases. Wow. Hostin's attorney, Daniel Twites, denies the allegations, calling the lawsuit a meritless attempt by a near-bankrupt insurance carrier to intimidate doctors and restrict healthcare benefits. The case involves claims that Hostin performs unnecessary surgeries on patients after minor accidents without exploring less invasive treatments, with American Transit citing New York's 1974 no-fault law as contributing to widespread.
In a December lawsuit, Dr. Manny Host, a well-known orthopedic surgeon and husband of Sunny Host, co-host of The View, is accused of engaging in fraudulent billing practices in the healthcare industry. The lawsuit alleges that Dr. Hostin performed unnecessary surgeries on patients involved in minor auto accidents, avoiding less invasive options like physical therapy and inflating the severity of injuries. What's more significant is the case's scope, as Dr. Host is named alongside nearly 200 defendants in one of the largest RICO cases in New York. The allegations point to a coordinated scheme in which surgery centers paid kickbacks to doctors, including Dr. Host, for patient referrals, while insurance companies for Uber and Lyft drivers were billed for these exaggerated and frequently unessential steps. A demand for more than $450 in damages at the center of this court dispute exposes systemic exploitation in the insurance and healthcare industries. Critics of the insurance industry contend that these kinds of methods hurt insurance firms and raise costs for regular Americans who already face hardships. The claims have been categorically refuted by the host's lawyer, who dismissed the action as a petty attempt by a financially troubled insurance company to threaten physicians and limit compensation. This defense adds another level of complexity to this high-stakes judicial drama by raising concerns about the part healthcare firms play in fostering an environment where patients and medical professionals feel abused.
Wait, hold on. Let Sonny get in here.
I mean, I agree with mostly everything that's been said. I mean, we know that, only about 31% of Americans trust our healthcare system. We have a terrible healthcare system. And, doctors suffer because of big corporations as well. Doctors that want to do good, like my husband, operates on someone even though they don't have insurance and then has to sue health insurance companies to get paid for the work that he's been trained his whole life to do. So there are a lot of problems with it. But the notion that we aren't a violent country, this country was built on violence. We're a very violent country, and it's just undeniable that that's the case. And so I'm not, unfortunately, surprised that people are celebrating the use of violence. I'm not surprised that this young man thought that change could be accomplished through violence. 1 in 4 Americans say violence against government sometimes is justified. And today, In 2024, 1 in 10 Americans say violence is justified right now against corporations
Scary.
and government.
That's very scary.
Those are just.
And even though I don't think he might change something, he might have laid out a plan for it.
In light of the fraud allegations against her husband, Sonny's recent comments on The View regarding his lawsuits against insurance companies to get paid for his work have gained additional weight. What initially appeared to be a defense of his patients now reads as a possible window into the very procedures at the core of the $450 million doll critics of RICO's loss have already drawn attention to the inconsistency. The insistence on the fair treatment of queer people has reached critics of RICO's loss have already drawn attention to the inconsistency. Sonny, a local champion for transparency and accountability, is now defending a system that her husband is suspected of abusing, leaving the public perplexed as to how someone so vocally opposed to injustice might unsuccessfully defend themselves, at least temporarily, against the vengeance of her husband's killer. Despite the grave charges made against her own family, Sonny had previously positioned herself in this way. Her willingness to speak out on these issues contrasts sharply with her apparent deflection when it comes to her husband's legal troubles. Her silence on the matter has led to accusations of hypocrisy, with many pointing to the stark contrast between her vehement rhetoric on others' alleged misconduct and her measured or absent responses to her own family's problems. She has been a steadfast critic of systemic corruption, corporate greed, and even the morality of conservative politicians. This juxtaposition raises the question of whether Sonny's beliefs are applied selectively and runs the risk of compromising her credibility as a pundit.
I was at my daughter's high school graduation.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I didn't feel somber. I felt like the Knicks won the tournament. I felt like America won.
Yep.
I felt like New York won. I felt like the Manhattan DA's office won. I felt like I won.
Sonny Hostin, her harsh criticism of people like Matt Gaetz and Donald Trump is now being questioned because her own family has been embroiled in a major scandal for years. Critics contend that Sonny has adopted a victim narrative for her family in sharp contrast to the harsh judgments she levels at others. Sonny has used her platform on The View to portray political opponents as corrupt, frequently using unsubstantiated allegations to support her criticisms. However, when her husband is accused of taking part in a $450 RICO fraud scheme, her response has been silence or deflection. Many people doubt the sincerity of her vocal commitment to accountability when this double standard reveals the discrepancy in her moral posturing. The deafening is equally concerning. Mainstream media silence on the host scandal is indicative of a larger cultural and political bias where elites are protected from scrutiny while the spotlight shines brightest on their ideological opponents. While conservative figures are frequently the focus of round-the-clock coverage over allegations, whether they are true or not, Sonny's husband's accusations have received little more than a whisper in the media landscape. The irony that Sonny preaches justice and ethics while living in a multi-million-dollar home has been exploited by her detractors. The scandal involving Sonny Holton and her husband has become a textbook example of what many see as systemic hypocrisy within liberal circles. While Sonny uses her platform on Monty The View to champion ethics and denounce the alleged misconduct of conservatives like Matt Gaetz and Donald Trump, her commentary conveniently ignores the explosive allegations against her own husband, who stands accused of exploiting the healthcare system in a $450 million RICO case. In contrast, conservatives like Trump and Stark are subjected to a presumption of guilt, even for lesser allegations, while the host scandal is met with nearsight. This selective anger exposes a stark double standard in which individuals like a Sonny advocate for others' accountability while ignoring the same principles in their own life. This type of self-serving rhetoric keeps undermining public confidence in the political and media systems. Elites, please share your thoughts about today's video in the comments section. Thank you.